What I told y'all was going to happen with Dillion Gabriel's storyline. People who don't watch football were going to take it, change it, flip it, and remix it on some Diddy style. So let me tell y'all what happened. Dillion Gabriel had a 50-50 day. And you know what you call those? It's not a bad day, but it damn sure is not a good day. And those type of performances gives a coach headaches because it's juked up, it's enhanced. But people like us who watch the game, we watch the entirety of the game, y'all. I always do that. Unlike your favorites, we're not just going to talk and report for monetization. We're a fan of football, so we actually watch the games. Now, what happened was Dillion Gabriel was starting off the game somewhat okay. He was like, I think he missed only one completion in the opening. He completed 3 in a row. And I was like, whoa, Dillion Gabriel's doing okay. You know I'm not a hater, bro. I may not like somebody, may not like your character, but boy, if you perform, DJ Bless One gonna keep it real. Even my supporters was looking at me like, yeah, Bless One keeps it real, because I was like, Dillion Gabriel's doing okay, but wait for it. I've been watching Dillion Gabriel since high school as a sophomore in the island of Hawaii, and I gotta call out some of you Hawaiians. Give me a moment and you'll understand it, why I gotta call out some of the Hawaiians. But Dillion Gabriel is always gonna be Dillion Gabriel. When we had him at Central Florida, he was the same way. He gets hot, but he can't get over his lack of height, his lack of concentration. And the main key thing I told people, go watch all my videos. What's the thing I told all of you guys when it comes down to Dillion Gabriel? He doesn't have forgetful memory. If he throws a costly mistake, even if it's a minor mistake, he doesn't know how to shake it off. All the greats in the professional realm of things, they can shake it off. So Dillion Gabriel throws an interception right after he has a completed pass. He had a completed pass of 6 yards, which, let's get into that before I talk about the interceptions and everything. We want to make this video make sense. And let me slow down the way I'm walking. I walk like that for health reasons in my acres backyard. Yeah, I'm talking ish because the trolls like to talk ish. The people who don't like us like, you're broke, you're broke. Meanwhile, he's on that dog food talking about, you're broke. And they always look the same way, the dudes who got something slick to say about people who look like me. They always look a peculiar way, but let's keep going. So I like the underdog story. I don't like Cleveland Browns. I already know Shedeur Sanders is 20 times ahead of Dillion Gabriel. Why would I go to the game and only want to see him lose? Because I did say I want to see Cleveland Browns lose. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I am not a Cleveland Brown fan. You're not going to get me to lie. If Shedeur was in there starting, then I want Cleveland to win. But let's move forward. You can say what you want to say, but at least I'm honest about it. I don't lie like you people, bro. So Dillion Gabriel had a chance to prove me wrong. But I'll never be wrong when it comes to scrub football players. The whole thing was set up for Dillion Gabriel to look like phenomenal. He had max protection the whole time. I'm talking about max protection damn near on 90% of his possessions. He had max protection on 90% of his possessions. I've never seen that in an NFL football game, let alone a preseason game. A preseason game. So does he need his training wheels still attached to him? The man is like 2 years older than Shedeur, about to be 2 years older than Shedeur or more. We need training wheels on an NFL franchise quarterback. That's what max protection is. You don't know how great he could be, but you're not going to put him in a position to get exposed like you did Shedeur. Because I'll get to Shedeur's situation later. You can see the contrast. Dillion Gabriel was given all type of help, man. He had the first team offense, and that's the garbage performance you do? Real NFL experts are trying to compare him with Shedeur's exploited routine as if Dillion is so far better, which is embarrassing and it's disrespectful from so-called experts. You see ESPN with titles, did Dillion fare better than Shedeur? Like, knock it off, though. We know the difference in what happened. Shedeur had second strings barely, but mostly third strings and fourth string cab drivers and Uber drivers trying to make the team. Shedeur was in a position where they're sabotaging me. They're diluting my career, but I'm a football player. I ain't gonna cry about it. What do Shedeur do? Come with his own entourage, which really wasn't his entourage. It was other Cleveland Brown football players, but the media negated that. They made it look like he took homeboys from his block, like Shedeur been growing up in, like Shedeur ain't grew up with a great dad with prominent resources. They pretended Shedeur is from like the trap house, like where cause I ain't gonna lie, I come from them areas. But they pretended that's where Shedeur came from. He took 3 of the homies who are really the hitmans, and he took them from the slum and had this little appearance. But they were Cleveland Brown players who just loved Shedeur, and all the players decided we gonna turn each other up. Hype me up. So they hyped him up, and the media stuck on that instead of Shedeur's performance. He hyped his own self up. He dominated against Carolina Panthers' second string, while he only had mostly third strings and fourth stringers. That's a phenomenal feat, right? He showed the accuracy passes. He showed that the Browns don't have to be a redundant team again, where they mostly rely on what? Bitch, you guessed it. On their running backs only. And shout out to Marshall, number 39. I think if the Browns don't keep him, a team definitely needs to pick up Marshall. He got that second gear you can't coach or teach. But let's move forward. To see Shedeur distribute the ball properly. He placed it properly, accurately. Forget about who has a stronger arm or not. There's 100,000 guys with strong arm. We just seen Jalen Milroe for the Dallas Cowboys. Skip Bayless, you were correct, just like I was. I'm not a hater. Jalen Milroe is not an NFL quarterback right now, and I do stick it to code. Jalen Milroe is not, and he's not better than Shedeur. I don't care if he got picked ahead of Shedeur. Jalen Milroe is a glorious running back, and I'm somebody who don't mind they tell certain people to change positions, because you ain't that, dog. Maybe in another 3 years, I don't know. But Jalen Milroe got one of the strongest arms. He keeps throwing interceptions because it don't matter if your arm that strong. But if you're not accurate, it's a waste. Anthony Richardson. They said Dillion Gabriel, strong arm, small quarterback. He ain't got the noggin up here. Interceptions. Strong arm don't mean ish in the NFL. If that's the case, Peyton Manning ain't never had no strong arm like that. You people love saying the most. Man, Tom Brady never had a strong arm. We can keep going. Doug Flutie. It's so many good quarterbacks in the NFL, never had a strong arm. Knock it off, man. Dan Marino doesn't have a strong arm. He is the prototype quarterback. That's all we're going to leave it at. And I worked for him before. Let's fast forward. So you sabotaged the man's opening moment for the Cleveland Browns. We didn't get too mad at that because we knew Shedeur was going to shine regardless. Now, the reverse you do with Dillion Gabriel. People are going to get exposed on Monday morning, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to lead the front. You're going to finally realize 90% of the people on ESPN don't really follow this game that they cover. They get paid to cover it. Don't mean they like it. Don't mean they love it. Don't mean they even understand what's going on. When you provide max protection for your rookie quarterback who you drafted in the 3rd round as if he was the #1 pick in the 1st round, like, why you got the training wheels on Dillion Gabriel? Let us see what he can actually do. You're giving safe passes that you didn't provide to Shedeur. Kevin Stefanski deliberately tried to hijack the moment for Shedeur because Kevin Stefanski was calling play callings as if this was the Super Bowl and Shedeur got to go for a Hail Mary pass on every possession. Did you see the throw Shedeur did convert it? Why do you think he had some incomplete passes? But his QBR rating was still 106 versus Dillion Gabriel's weak QBR rating of 72. They're gonna negate that part. Everybody is trying to tell you this man is better. I told you, wait for it. What he did, he threw a pick 6. He wasn't even right anymore. He was discombobulated. The man throws a pick 6. His confidence is gone, and he can't get it back. He's not one of those guys. He's not the strong dude who can get his confidence back. Once it regresses, it regresses. Dillion has been abysmal in practices all summer long. We've seen the truth in who he is. He's the interception master. At least Brett Favre and Jameis Winston, because Brett Favre and Jameis Winston are the only 2 guys I know with immeasurable talents who can either look like the best quarterbacks ever, but they can look like a Dillion Gabriel, meaning they'll throw you some interceptions, but then they'll throw you some touchdowns. Didn't Jameis Winston went 30 for 30? We going 30 for 30. Jameis Winston was the only quarterback to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. And guess what? Many teams, many scrub teams in the NFL would take that and still throw 5,000 yards passing. I'll take that versus a Dillion Gabriel. I'll take that all day. This man gonna cost you guys big. And you Cleveland Brown fans, you like that type of water work? Max protection. When they give you max protection like that, that's Pop Warner football at that point. Because the last time I seen that much max protection, if you guys don't know, that's like 2 tight ends blocking along with your interior linemen. Your running back is assigned to blocking duties. Everybody is just blocking for you. So how can you gain any victories if majority of your key skill positions are being regurgitated and downplayed to only a blocker? How is that going to work in the National Football League? We can't keep trying to protect this man. We got to let him fly. This the NFL, the big boy leagues. That's what you told me. They didn't even give Dillion that in college. Look at Dillion offensive coaches he had, bro. From Josh Heupel all the way to Oklahoma to Dan Lanning. You ain't never seen Dillion being given max protection like that. Why is he getting max protection in the NFL? Because they know what Bless One knows. They got to hide that boy. They never wanted to draft Dillion Gabriel. It was a forced move. Most of the teams who drafted their quarterback was a forced move because of the Shedeur effect. You heard about the primetime effect. Well, this is the Shedeur effect. He's his own man. Saints suffered from it. New Orleans Saints messed up in what they did. What they did with the prime effect. I'm waiting for it, y'all. They got Tyler Saw, who threw 1 touchdown in preseason, but they negated his interceptions. He also threw a pick six, just like the leprechaun Dillion Gabriel did. And we're going to talk about Hawaiians, but let me move forward. Every quarterback who was drafted over Shedeur been throwing pick six. J.J. McCarthy, who was drafted last year, which Shedeur should have entered that draft, but he stayed to help Colorado and Boulder. J.J. McCarthy, who was a third round prediction, who got drafted number 6 in the NFL draft, he's just plain garbage, bro. I know he's coming off an ACL injury, but I told y'all he was garbage before he even got drafted. Trash again. They draft below average quarterbacks who look like their grandkids. It's always been that way. Let me get on my Hawaiians. All my life, I defended nations of melanated people who look like us. I used to always defend Hawaiians when I learned about their history and they got colonized. You know, when I was in elementary, I learned about Hawaii. And I was one of these little militant dudes who just, I don't like what Western society do to other countries. I would always defend the island of Hawaii. But then, when I was in 6th grade, I got to be around a lot of Hawaiians. And I'm here to tell you the truth. Most Hawaiians think they look like the oppressor, bro. Most Hawaiians don't even know they're Hawaiians, even though they are Hawaiians. They want to be the people who colonized them. They look up to the people who colonized their island. They don't even think about their ancestral roots. The original Hawaiians who was there, who were completely wiped off that land. You know what I mean? The land stolen from them and became part of the USA. Like, these people don't even defend themselves, because anytime I've noticed there'll be arguments, they always side with the colonizers. They never sided with us. Now, you do got great Samoans who are brothers with the brothers. I love them. But let's just talk about the majority of them. Majority of Hawaiians love bootlicking their former colonizers. Majority of Hawaiians always side that way. You can go with the Tua Tagovailoa versus Hurts debates. All I seen was nasty comments from so-called Islanders. Even when Tua went to Miami Dolphins, the things they said about those beautiful brothers on the Miami Dolphin teams in favor of Tua was despicable. And that's why I'm talking about fellow Hawaiians. This guy, Dillion Gabriel, doesn't even act like a real Hawaiian. He doesn't speak up for Hawaiian culture. He never. He's not like a Shedeur. You don't think those Hawaiian people want like a real Hawaiian to be in the NFL who stands about Hawaii, who stands about his people? He don't care what he has to face. He's going to defend his nation. he's going to make his nation look good. You're not going to get that from a Dillion Gabriel. He toes the line and cowers down. He tries to fit in where he could fit in instead of making room and become a dominant force that he could be. But I don't think he could be, but at least anybody would like to be that for their people. That ain't Dillion Gabriel. And that's what you people have to deal with. You got the generic version of a wannabe who can't lead up to the actual, he can't lead up to what people who hate Shedeur is trying to make him be. So if anything, go ahead and make that boy a starter. I'm with that. I'm not mad no more. Ain't no point of arguing no more because I've been correct about everything I predicted, and I'm cocky like that. I told all of y'all so. Yep, I'm not messy, but I'm petty. I told you so. I told you what it was going to be. Y'all just got to deal with it now. Dillion Gabriel is being looked as Joe Montana from so-called NFL experts. Look, even if you don't like Shedeur for whatever reason, it's cool. But you're really going to destroy your career, your reputation, to say that Dillion Gabriel performed so great yesterday? So great yesterday? You guys didn't show any of the forget about the interception and the pick six. What about incompletions of only 2 yards out? I seen one where he overthrew his running back. That was only one, not even, barely even 1 yard out. This guy has to jump and throw the ball to overcompensate for his height. But Dillion Gabriel is the next thing up. I leave you guys with scrubs, man. Scrubs will always defend scrubs. I'm DJ Bless One, the best one, man. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed.